Hi folks, welcome to Nursery Juniper Part 2. We'll start by recapping what we've already done on our Nursery Juniper that we bought for a bit more than $20. What we did was we pruned off all the overgrowth and the undergrowth, and we selected out 3 trunks on it, and we decided to create a 3-trunk raft style composition. What we've also done is we've wired 2 of the 3 trunks, but we've left them in their original position for now so that I can show you the bending activity necessary for the final shaping. And we're also going to wire the 3rd trunk on camera in order to show you folks a little bit of rough bonsai wiring, that is, wiring for rough shaping of the tree. So I have here prepared a piece of 5mm bonsai wire, and we'll use this to wire the 3rd small trunk here, which is expected to be the subordinate trunk in the final composition. Now what we typically try to do is stick the base of the wire down into the soil and anchor it among the tree's roots so that it provides a firm anchor for the base of the trunk, and then we simply spiral it around the trunk. On a young juniper such as this, where the trunks and branches are still pretty flexible, it's not that difficult. You just have to be careful to avoid crushing any foliage that you're going to want to use in your final pruning and shaping. So we're moving up this trunk here, and I'm kind of taking visual note of any interesting side branches and where they're going to end up in the final composition. And then we'll come up here a little ways near the top of the trunk, and we'll cut the wire with, I'm using an ordinary wire cutters here. You can buy a real nice bonsai wire cutter that does the job better, but they're expensive, and if you're short on money, it's something you can do without. Now I'm going to put on a pair of work gloves to do the bending, simply because the foliage on this variety of juniper is rather prickly. This is a Japanese garden juniper. Like I said, it's an ordinary 5-gallon tree that we selected from our local big box type of store. And then, in order to get away from that look of just pruning out pom-poms and doing a couple of, a low-lying, windswept looking kind of a tree, what we have to do is we have to wire and bend the trunks. Now the bending, you have to be careful. These things will break, as you heard a branch snap in the last video. So we're just being very careful with the, oops, that was a little too far, but the good news is that one didn't quite break. It just split partway through, and the nice thing is, in the summer like this, when the junipers are pushing sap, that will heal pretty easily. Now this plan here is to do a 3-trunk tree with the largest trunk sheltering the 2 smaller ones, and the middle trunk kind of in the background. And it'll probably take another video for us to actually get to branch selection. But this is roughly how we're going to shape the 3 trunks. Now all of a sudden we're starting to have something that looks a little bit like a bonsai. So let's rotate it around and we'll see what we have. This is the front here, and what we'll do now is just do a little bit of preliminary pruning on the branches. Take off anything that we're obviously not going to use. I like something along in one of these as the first branch, so this is going away. And although this is a nicely developed branch, it's too low to be useful on this trunk. So we'll take those off. And then something like this, well, we'll look into that later on when we actually get into shaping. And then we'll just kind of dock this one back and take the middle trunk down a little shorter than the top one. and then we'll shorten up a few of the branches on the small trunk. And in another upcoming video, we'll work on actually potting it up and wiring out the branches. Okay, the small trunk is still a little, the tallest trunk is getting close. What we'll do is we'll take that off a little bit, and that there, and take that one back, and the small trunk really needs to be just a bit shorter, so I'm going to take that down again. And this is where we are at this point. Now in the next video we'll do repotting and shape out the branches.